but they were exceeding the dimensional requirements that we maintain going into launch. By the way, they also noted same type conditions for STS-119. In fact, the only difference is that for STS-119, they also noted a small gap on the upper left-hand side. In this case, the gaps were only on the right side. So there are some indicators that supported the fact that we did have some very slight gaps, and those were, in fact, or probably due to cryogenic conditions, but we'll have to let the investigation teams identify the root cause. They're hard at work proceeding with identifying all possibilities of the fault tree, and they're still working their investigation. But in the meantime, we are on the path of installing a new quick disconnect and a new flight seal, and picking up with that activity right now. In summary, though, as Leroy mentioned, the team is processing on the path towards a launch attempt on the 17th. The window open for a launch attempt on the 17th is 05:35 Eastern. The preferred launch time is 05:40 Eastern Daylight Time. The team is optimistic that our quick disconnects and seal removal and replacement will fix the problem. The schedule that we're moving towards is very tight, but it is achievable, and essentially all other turnaround activities are proceeding nominally. We did notice some on the left-hand tail service mast, there was some hydraulic fluid that had on the ground side that had about 10 ounces worth that had dripped down onto the mobile launch platform deck, and because of the winds and some of the storm activity yesterday, a little bit of that hydraulic fluid had sprayed onto the orbiter tile. We had engineering folks assess that, and they've cleaned it up since then, so there appear to be no further issues with that particular hydraulic fluid leak. In the meantime, all other systems are nominal, and we're not tracking to any other issues. In summary, we're looking forward towards moving to a launch attempt on Wednesday. Thanks.
Thank you. Kathy.
Well, Wednesday also looks favorable overall weather-wise. We are just slightly concerned about some showers in the area due to a low-pressure area that may ride down the east side of the ridge, the upper-level ridge that's going to be off to our west over the Gulf of Mexico. That does cause a front to come down into the area. The low will actually be off to our east, and a front will come into the area and possibly linger in the area on Thursday. So due to that concern, we do have a 30% chance of KSE weather prohibiting launch on both Wednesday and if we happen to go 24 hours later on Thursday. But anyway, also just to mention on Atlas in the afternoon on that same day, there is concerns for afternoon thunderstorms that day, so there's a 40% chance of launch commit criteria violation for the Atlas launch on Wednesday afternoon. Let's go ahead and look at our current satellite picture. You can see that we do today have our main concern being thunderstorms in the area this afternoon. But luckily, so far, the majority of the thunderstorms have been down to our south over the Melbourne area. There have been some isolated cells off to our west and northwest, so we're still keeping an eye on those this afternoon and evening to be sure that that's not going to affect the area. And if they do, we'll issue any lightning watches and warnings as necessary for Complex 39A. So just looking ahead, we do expect afternoon thunderstorms each day, and that really is more inland for the next few days, particularly as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. And because of that, and even into Thursday, because of that, Atlas is mainly concerned about anvils in the area, and for us in the morning time period, we're just mainly concerned about showers in the morning. But as we get towards the end of the week and into the weekend, the weather becomes such that we come in a more solid afternoon thunderstorm pattern with southwest flow over the area. With that, we tend to get favorable conditions in the morning, and then the weather gets worse in the afternoon. So as we get into Friday, our launch probability for the shuttle launch changes to a 20% chance Friday, Saturday, and even if we happen to be able to use Sunday. And then also for Atlas, our launch probability actually increases up to a 60% chance as we get into Friday and Saturday afternoons. And all that is mainly due to the time period of the launches, the shuttle being in the more favorable time in the morning and the Atlas being in the worst time in the afternoon here in Florida when we tend to get our afternoon thunderstorms. But for Wednesday, we do have a 30% chance of KSE weather prohibiting launch, primarily due to concern for showers in the area. Kendra?
Thank you. We'll now take questions here at Kennedy and then go to the phone lines. We have 2 people calling in with questions. When the microphone comes your way, please state your name, your affiliation, and to whom you're addressing your question. Marcia.
Marcia Dunn, Associated Press for Leroy. What time tomorrow is the decision point at which you have to go with one or the other? And who is the person or persons that would be making that decision?
Let's see, Marcia, the range schedule plan right now has range reconfiguration efforts starting sometime in the afternoon tomorrow. Now, there are some activities going on with the launch vehicle support team that start at 0800 tomorrow. The indications that we got from the team today were that they needed to go off and look at how late some of those activities could begin and still support an LRO launch on the 17th. So one of the things that came out of our discussions between yesterday and today was that the range and the 45th scheduling community in particular are off studying and trying to evaluate what is the latest time that they need an answer on whether or not we're going to launch shuttle or LRO on the 17th. And again, it's important to emphasize here that on the official range launch schedule, LRO is officially scheduled for the 17th and will remain that way until sometime tomorrow if we decide to proceed forward with the shuttle to the 17th.
Who's the ultimate decision maker on which mission goes?
Well, within the agency, it's a discussion between, as you know, of course, in shuttle, in the Space Ops Mission Directorate, our Associate Administrator, Bill Gerstemeyer, leads that team. And then the LRO mission falls in the Exploration Systems Mission Directorate, which is headed by Doug Cook. He's our Associate Administrator there. So it's a consultation that goes on between the leadership in both directorates to include other folks in senior management in the agency, and then ultimately a recommendation to the acting administrator to make sure that everybody has got the right plan in mind and has the agency's priorities well, I think, represented in terms of the decision that we make.
Bill. I'm sorry. That's fine. Bill.
Bill Horowitz, CBS. Leroy, if you get to tomorrow, at whatever time that range decision has to be made, and everything is still equal, and Pete's team has got the GUP repaired and all of that's gone well, which mission has the preference?
Yeah, I believe that based on the discussions we've had so far, and it's driven again by our desire to maximize the launch opportunities for the complement of the two missions. The scenario that does that for us is shuttle goes first on the 17th, and LRO follows up with two opportunities on the 19th and 20th. The other part about that scenario that's somewhat advantageous is that if we are on that path and we in fact tank the shuttle, and then we have this same failure again, this failure at the umbilical plate, a leak. If at that time we scrubbed, and that would be on the evening of the 16th, on Tuesday, if at that time we scrubbed and declared a scrub for the shuttle at that time, the range has indicated that in all likelihood they can reconfigure to launch LRO as early as the 18th. So what all that means, Bill, is that in the scenario, Plan A, where shuttle goes first on the 17th, it gives us one opportunity for shuttle and at least two for LRO, those being on the 19th and 20th. And in the case where our scrub is a result of a leak for the same problem that we had on Friday night,